An aquifer hidden below ground cannot be understood or owned until a map lifts up the earth above it and reveals it to the world. The map becomes an instrument of power to control the future of the resource. The Guarani Aquifer covers an area of 1.2 million square kilometers and spans across Brazil, Argentina, Paraguay, and Uruguay. With a volume of nearly 40,000 cubic kilometers, it has enough water to supply the world's population for 200 years. Before the 1990s, underground water reserves in the four countries were mapped as discrete entities. In 1995, L.M. Araújo, a geologist working for a Brazilian oil company, used information from extraction wells to draw what he called the giant aquifer of the Mercosur. In 2000, the four governments applied for a loan from the World Bank to study the aquifer. In return, the World Bank requested sole ownership of the research and that any resulting water service be privatized. In 2001, the very first map depicting the blue giant was published. This map drew country boundaries tenuously and a thick line around the rivers and watersheds that feed the aquifer. As the map gained momentum, the World Bank pushed for its own contractors. Subsequently, the maps published showed only the exploitable boundary and not its watersheds. In 2009, the governments of the four countries refused to renew the license of the World Bank to study the Guarani. To this day, the question of who should be able to generate and access information about the aquifer remains. The blue planet contains 1.4 billion cubic kilometers of water. Only 2.5% is freshwater. 60% of it is locked up in glaciers, 10% in lakes, rivers, and wetlands, and 30% in groundwater. Most of the largest aquifers of the world cross national boundaries, creating potential for conflict and mismanagement. Water was first defined as a commodity in 1992 at the International Conference on Water and the Environment. Since then, the World Bank has been promoting the privatization of water services in developing regions, facilitating the transfer of water rights to a few transnational corporations. Thus, the World Bank's involvement in the mapping of the Guarani is feared to place it in the hands of major corporations that control the global water market. Privatization has taken hold in many places in Chile and Argentina, but it has also been met with resistance. Cochabamba, Bolivia experienced a violent civil war between the nation's army and its people, who ultimately succeeded in reclaiming public water rights from the Bechtel Corporation. Uruguay has gone through similar protests, resulting in a referendum in 2004 that declared access to water as a basic human right. As legal definitions of water vary from country to country, the Guarani is especially at risk of future political conflicts. In 2006, the case of two paper mills on the border between Uruguay and Argentina, feared to pollute the aquifer, almost resulted in armed conflict. The US has also positioned a military base in Paraguay and controls a vast area of land over the aquifer. In order to rid the Guarani from internal conflict that hinders its protection, the aquifer and its watershed must be mapped as one region. We propose a redrawing of jurisdictional boundaries with the aquifer as the central agency defining patterns of urbanization of the future Guarani region. This remapped Aquifer Economic Zone, or AEZ, can help avoid risks of contamination, overexploitation, and political conflicts by reorganizing surface boundaries along subterranean conditions that will shape the region's future.